It's a taboo topic for everyone.
Oh
Imagine
yeah.
being disabled, being a woman, being a
Mm,
person of color. I want to embrace the taboo and let's dig into. There's so many
yeah.
specific issues around money that the disability
Yeah.
community has that nobody knows about and nobody's talking about. Even the word handicap comes from veterans after the war not being able to get jobs and so putting their caps in their hands and begging for money. So
Mm.
handicap, hand and cap. The roots of that is poverty, is charity. And so one of the missions is just making sure that we break away from this poverty mindset. There's a lot of privilege in fashion and beauty as well. All of these things are connected. Dating too. If you don't have a great date outfit or if you don't feel beautiful, you're going to show up differently. Again, Give Beauty Wings is about putting our beauty to action. It's just about self expression and being the fullness of who you are and finding out more about yourself.
So, welcome, Xian, to the show. I am so honored and excited to have you here. The number one thing I'm curious is what has helped you channel your personal journey of disability to empowerment and also empowering many others about how important that storytelling is and owning our identity?
Yeah, so I had no intentions of becoming an advocate, walking, traversing the world with two shiny ski poles. You call enough attention to yourself. And I felt like I always had to minimize the ways in which I was different in a way, even though I will say the background for me, which we will get to, and I always bring up, is my parents were artists. They prized uniqueness. They always celebrated the fullness of who I was. Even though that was the case and it made me feel invincible, I think when I was meeting new people, for example, I remember in elementary school, kids saying to me, Sean, you're normal, right? And they weren't trying to make some grand statement about what is normal, but what they were asking was, it's okay to talk to you. It's okay to connect with you. And so I would always say yes, because I wanted to make sure they knew I wasn't so different that we couldn't connect in a universal way. So I looked forward to having those first conversations just so that we could get to the portion of getting to know each other as human beings. I think things have changed. I think it used to be that whoever was different had to be scrappy and adapt. But at least in the DEI world, I feel like it's more of an attitude of, I'm here. It's your job to invite me in and make sure I feel welcome. I think social media is a big part of that. I think there's a lot more awareness of different communities. I think the internet has empowered all kinds of communities that used to feel very alone. So it's mostly positive. I consider my disability the blessing of my life. And I have to thank Judy Heumann and the disability rights movement, especially in the 70s, for making that a possible statement. Part of why I said that is I cut the lines at Disney World and the airport. I feel like I now know that I was meant to stand out. I own that and embrace it fully. I think it's my job, and this is where the advocacy comes in, to help others embrace who they are fully. Disability or no disability, I want to see everyone empowered, and I would love not to have a job.
We're here to learn. I think that's one of the things I am really inspired this month to re-educate myself as well. I'm also still learning. And so it piggybacks then to your journey of now becoming the founder of the Give Beauty Wings. What is the mission? How did that come together? And tell us more about it.
Beauty Wings started as a self-esteem program that came out of a pitch I did for the Dove campaign, asking them to include people with disabilities in their advertising. It was a minute and 23-second video that I made in my mother's living room, literally no budget. It was a guy from church helping me out making this video. And the reason I created it again was asking that question. My second job ever, I worked for a theater in New York with 45 members total, 15 with disabilities. These were the most brilliant, beautiful people I'd ever met, struggling with disability identity, struggling with self-esteem. It made me think about what about everyone else? And so I pitched the Dove campaign because I said, where else do we get our sense of self-esteem? Of course, it's media, it's many things, But the answer that came to me at the time was the beauty industry. Dove had already celebrated women of all sizes, and they had already celebrated older women. So they seemed to me like the most natural partner. I will tell you, they did not even respond. I never heard from them again. The good part of that is that my former boss saw the video and said, hey, in lieu of what you're trying to do, can you help us out? We want to do the true story project with these girls 14 to 21. Can you help us? It happened to be at NYU. And the next semester,
Oh.
the main teacher could not do it anymore. And so the coordinator came to me and said, is there anything you want to talk to the girls about? They miss you. And I was like, I want them to know how beautiful they are.